He's facing 7 new felony charges. And before we get started, I definitely need you to like this video, comment, subscribe, share the video. And I want to say, man, I don't wish charges on nobody. All right? So let's get into it.
Mr. Steele, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you, sir? Good. Always good to see you. I feel the same, Your Honor. Oh, doing okay? I'll let you know. Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm glad we were able to fit you in. Sorry you had to wait a minute. I appreciate it.
He talk about, are you doing okay? The guy responds, I'll let you know. Just wow.
Your patience. Let me set up the case first. This is position 20, case number 22 CP 208957, Jeffrey Williams. And I want to say good afternoon to you, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Wolf. This is your felony appearance. Good afternoon. We're doing this remotely because of COVID. You have the right to remain silent. You're presumed innocent, and you have the right to an attorney. Your lawyer, Mr. Steele, is on the call. So let me start with you, Mr. Steele. This is a first appearance. Do you want to be heard on probable cause or just bond? We will be heard on bond. Okay. So let me ask, is this your case, Mr. Smith? Yes, Judge. And is this part of that same indicted case or something different? That is correct. It is part of the indicted case, Judge. Okay, if you could announce that first, and then we'll go from there. Yes, Judge. So,
Like what?
These charges, these warrants stem from indictment number 22 SC 1822273. As well, Your Honor. Would you like me to go ahead and proceed with my position on bond as well, Judge? Okay. So, it's the state's position that giving Mr. Williams access to resources, and given that we're still in the process of apprehending everyone on that larger indictment, Your Honor, it's the state's position that he is a flight risk, as well as there's a clear risk to hinder the administrations of justice. Your Honor, officers that completed a search warrant at the home of Mr. Williams, they recovered large quantity of drugs, several firearms, one of which including a automatic switch made it.
That's typical for them to do a search warrant after they arrest somebody, but honestly, I feel like that's truly unfair. Honestly, I feel like if you're going to arrest somebody, you need to let them know you're coming. I just feel like it's unfair to come unannounced. Just like if you, I don't know, if maybe if you like me, I don't like unannounced company. Don't just show up at my house unannounced. And that's the way they operate. I just felt like possibly they should have warned somebody before he come. And then the fact that y'all do a search warrant after he's incarcerated, I feel it's still a bit unfair, but this is how the system works.
Fully automatic machine gun. And given the nature of these allegations of all, Your Honor, would respectfully request that you deny bond. And I just want to understand, Mr. Smith, you're saying that Mr. Steele's client, Mr. Williams, he was indicted on that same 22 SC 1822273 or not? That is correct, Your Honor. Okay. And I thought that it was the state's position for the delegation order from Judge Brasher that this court, you being a magistrate court judge, that I don't have authority to consider bond. Is that the case, or are you saying that I do? And just to clarify, Your Honor, that indictment, that was a direct indictment. These are additional warrants that were taken out stemming from that particular indictment. Whether or not these new warrants will become a part of that indictment, the decision has not been made up yet. Got it. That they're within the four corners of indictment 22 SC 1822273. These warrants are not part of that indictment. That is correct, Your Honor. It would require a re-indictment if the state chose to do so. That is correct.
Wait a minute. So Young Thug is in jail. off a previous warrant or whatever you want to call it. Young Thug would like to get out on bail, but 88 Smith is basically saying y'all got other warrants out that is not processed in this current case. So if Young Thug do get out, he may have another warrant out for him and he gonna be back in there.
Okay, so you do agree that these charges have not been assigned to Judge Plainfield or unindicted, and it would be for the court to consider today? That's correct, Your Honor. Okay, I understand. And just, it goes beyond Mr. Steele's case with Mr. Williams, but I just want to know for future reference today, Mr. Smith, I appreciate the update. Position 18, DMR.
I know that's what he said now.
Assigned to Judge Plainfield or unindicted, and it would be for the court to consider today. That we're taking out stemming from that particular indictment, whether or not these new warrants will become a part of that indictment. The decision has not been made as of yet. Got it. But they're within the four corners of indictment 22 SC 182273. These warrants are not part of that indictment. That is correct, Your Honor. It would require a re-indictment if the state chose to do so. That is correct.
I know I heard that right. A re-indictment?
Okay, so you do agree that Sergio Kitchens, who was on the calendar earlier, represented by Mr. Samuel, his case, though, for today was strictly the case that was indicted a couple days ago. That was a different situation. I'm going to treat this just like a regular first appearance. So with that in mind, I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Steele. Do you want to be heard on probable cause, or do you want to just be heard on cause? Your Honor. Okay, got it. So the court does find probable cause based on warrants, Mr. Williams, for the following charges: possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of Schedule 3, 4, or 5 controlled substance with intent to distribute, possession of a firearm for the commission of a felony, possession of a sawed-off shotgun, a sawed-off rifle, in this case the allegations of machine gun, dangerous weapon or silencer, unlawful for a person employed or associated with a certain organization to conduct or participate in that organization, unlawful for, and there are three.
The 18 charges beginning in 2008, the state offender with arrest for the state of California and Georgia. Last
The Spring County Road, and we left off with the jail saying three something, so there was a part that he did.
Okay, well, let me just kind of back up. What I was saying was, sir, the court does find probable cause for possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of a Schedule 3, 4, or 5 substance with intent.
Let's get it together, Judge Wolf.
Firearm with commission of a felony, and possession of a machine gun. And then there are three counts about unlawful association with certain groups. I don't know, Mr. Steele, if you want me to.
Man, y'all can at least get a boy bond and on house arrest until the next court hearing at least.
Those are the three charges that relate to the first three charges. That was the last thing. So I now heard.
Your boy Jeffrey is attentive right now.
Starting in 2008, out of California and Georgia. Ms. Gordon, do you show anything else?
The last arrest was November 2018 for possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute, purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of marijuana. And that was in DeKalb County. No disposition listed, no felony convictions listed on the GCIC, nothing for the
That was a while ago too. Come on now.
My recommendation is that Ms. Williams remain in no bond status, Your Honor. I'll reiterate, he's at a significant flight risk given his access to resources. There's also a clear risk of hindering the administration of justice, given that we have not apprehended everyone on the larger indictment, Your Honor, and given he's also at risk of committing additional felonies.
His last arrest years ago.
Do you show that he has no felony convictions? I believe that's correct, Your Honor. Okay. Thank you from the state. Mr. Steele, please tell me about Mr. Williams and any bond recommendations you have, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you for everything you do. Honorable prosecutors, thank you. Mr. Williams, good afternoon. Your Honor, Mr. Williams is 30 years of age. He is an incredible human being walking among us. He has grown up in rubble here in the Cleveland Avenue area. He has made it where he has performed musically on every continent in this world except for Antarctica. He has performed his music in front of as many as 300,000 people at a time. He is signed to a record label. You have members of the record label on your Zoom now and want to hear from him.
Hold on real quick. I'm not a lawyer, but honestly, what does his rap career and his success has to do with what's going on now? You need to proposition what he's going to do. You need to proposition what he's not going to do when on this bail. You need to be convincing the judge on why he should be let out on bail. You going into his career and all this and that and all this and that. I honestly think that's irrelevant. We're here facing RICO charges. So you need to be talking about how Mr. Jeffrey isn't going to be committing any of those charges. Let's get straight to the chase. We already know about his career. We already know he's a rapper. But let's talk about how he's not going to commit no more crimes no more. So he can get out on bail and at least be put on house arrest.
He just got back from Norway, from performing in Norway, and he got back this Sunday before Monday when law enforcement officers executed a search warrant on his home based upon the grand jury warrant. I was there at that time, Your Honor. There were at least 10 people who were in the house with Mr. Williams. These items that are being litigated now before Your Honor, the court, for those charges, those unindicted charges, all come from the execution of the search warrant. We are not agreeing that we are responsible for any type of crime. Mr. Williams has never been convicted of any type of felony. I've defended him for at least 10, if not more years, Your Honor. He is not a convicted felon. His case in DeKalb County arises out of a show that he was performing at Jimmy Fallon.
Jeffrey may have a good chance. Now, he's not a convicted felon. I don't think they...
And at that scene of that traffic stop on body camera, he was not a convicted felon. His case in DeKalb County arises out of a show that he was performing at the Jimmy Fallon show. He was going to an airport in DeKalb County on a private plane. He was in the car with 2 other people, and at that scene of that traffic stop on body camera, another person took full responsibility of any type of illegal contraband. The Honorable DeKalb County Superior Court Judge Adams heard motion to suppress. I have the honor of representing Mr. Williams, granted the motion to suppress the state appeal. It got reversed, and I have been trying to get that case done with DeKalb County. It's now 4 years old, and they have not shown any type of interest in moving the case. And I have letter after letter begging that this case be disposed of and Mr. Williams be cleared. Your Honor, Mr. Williams owns homes here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I don't disagree that people would consider that he has substantial resources. That is not a negative, that is a positive. He is not a flight risk. He has come back every single time from being anywhere located around this world. He surrendered his passport to me, although I believe law enforcement officers may have this passport,
Good.
I will get that passport and I can surrender it to the sheriff court.
All right, now we're talking, Brian Steele.
As far
Yeah.
as interfering with the administration of justice, as argued by the honorable prosecutor, there is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Williams has done anything to try to obstruct justice and try to hinder people from turning themselves in or being arrested. In fact, when law enforcement officers came into his home, I was there, Your Honor, on the first hand.
Real quick, like that previous case he just talked about that has been open for 4 years and hasn't been closed, just seems like they just waiting on, him to mess up. And like Brian Steele says, he's been asking for that case to be closed. Going forward, he hasn't been arrested since 2018, and he's not a convicted felon. Brian Steele is going into ways of, letting him out on bond will hand you his passport. He can't go nowhere. Very great, great thing.
And he was nothing but cooperative. He had his 14-year-old son with him at that time. In addition to that, the fact that the prosecution wants there is going to be no evidence. You can craft and deem as appropriate a bond order that he cannot be around weapons over the bond to craft that order. The fact that he never obstructed administration courts and the parties do so, but I have defended him on those cases and any issues dealing with any other IALA factors, including intimidation of witnesses. They are not here. We are going to fight this case, Your Honor.
As you should.
All the way through until the prosecution either surrenders or the jury reaches its verdict. And I would ask you to please set a reasonable bond with whatever conditions you want. Now, with all that being said, I am not immune to what you said earlier. I understand that you have no jurisdiction, I heard you say that earlier, to deal with the indicted offense, so I understand that even if you do set bond here today, which is what I respectfully request, Mr. Williams is still in custody because we do have a pending indictment. We're waiting for the Honorable Judge Glanville to set the hearing date for that bond.
Mr. Steele, two quick questions. One is, do you have a specific bond number in mind that you're asking for to consider?
Okay.
I would ask for a signature bond. There's no reason that Mr. Williams next charges should have anything other than respectfully a signature bond.
All right, Steele, you working. For the fact that Judge Wolf asked about the amount of bond is a good thing.
Okay, thank you. And also, just one last question, Mr. Steele, if you don't mind. You alluded to other people being on the call now. I leave that completely up to you. If you want them to be heard, if it's relevant to the issue of bond.
They may just issue a bond. They may just do it. Judge Wolf asks would it be a good amount. So even though it ain't set in stone right now.
He is widely popular, Your Honor. Mr. Williams he's like the favorite of the musical industry. So you just got on your screen, Your Honor, two.
Hasn't been arrested since 2018. There's an open case on them, but still been open for 4 years. They ain't got nothing on them. All they got is these charges they did not convict him of.
Not convicted felons. They are business people. They're college graduates, and they have been around the world with Mr. Williams.
Okay. Well, I do want to just acknowledge their presence here today. I always thank anybody who's here on the case. It could be someone here on behalf of the defense, it could be whoever it is. We always welcome everybody to the court, and I do consider your support of Mr. Williams as a considered bond at this time. And Mr. Smith, to be fair to both sides, do you have anybody on this call? state does not, Your Honor. Okay, I didn't want to acknowledge anybody on either side of the case. But gentlemen, thank you to both of you. Now, I do want to just clarify, Mr. Smith. My understanding is that Mr. Williams, Jeffrey Williams, was indicted a couple days ago on the 22 SC Judge Glanville case, correct? That is correct, Your Honor. And any bond that's to be considered on that case, per the delegation order from Judge Brasher, is going to go to Judge Glanville, and that's not before me today. That's also correct.
They should definitely grant a bond, considering, he was indicted on charges. He wasn't indicted on something he did recently. Grant.
The reason for the state's request is risk of flight and considerations going to people who've not been arrested yet, correct? That's correct, Your Honor, in addition to... that's correct, okay.
So that's the only thing you guys are flight risk? Okay. And Mr. Steele said he would turn in the card, so guess what? Jeffrey won't be able to fly.
So it's a while ago now. It's been up on appeal. It's back in the DA's office. Your perspective is it's not really getting any traction at this point, but the allegations are met with intent and sale of marijuana.
There's a small amount. They're in a car with two other people. The items are in a briefcase, and on the body camera, a passenger stated that that's my drugs. And
yes.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you both. You both do a great service to your clients, and it makes the court's job, I think, a lot easier to do. So thank you both. Now, let me get back to you, Mr. Williams. So the court does find probable cause for the list of charges, like I mentioned earlier, based on the warrants. And at this time, the court's not going to set a bond. I do find that you're a flight risk.
What?
And I do agree for bond purposes with the entirety of the state's argument. I will say also, though, the court is very strongly considering that you've got 22 SC 18287.
What? Man. Mr. Steele, I thought you was stepping with that statement. But I originally said, you went into, like I said, you went into his career, how he was traveling, this and that. And like I said, what does that have to do with why we are here right now? You should have got straight into the point. Like, I gave you a little kudos, but we know when you started off, I did mention you getting into his career like that. What that gonna do for him today? You need to get into what brought him here today and how he's not gonna do it. So far, you said you're hand back in his car so he don't, because he's a flight risk. I guess you should have came with something a little bit more harder than that, because they done denied his bond.
Three, related to this same investigation before Judge Glanville, and I don't want to restrict Judge Glanville from making a decision on bond in regards to everything, so that he can balance everything. So that's the order of the court today. It's no bond for those reasons.
Your Honor, can I ask a question?
Of course.
You found the flight risk of a gentleman who has major ties to this community and grew up here.
One thing. So when the court hearing started, you got the guy at the top. I can't remember his name with the glasses, but he mentioned that he was a flight risk. Then we fast forward, we come down to Brian Steele, and then he gets to talking about how he flew all over the world. Do you think that's a good statement to make, considering that they denied his bond because he's a flight risk? Absolutely not.
But then you stated that you don't want to bind Judge Glanville.
Then you just said he just flew in maybe not too long ago, like a week or so ago. So now we know he flies a lot. You also mentioned The only place he didn't fly was, what he said, Antarctica? Somewhere, he said. Only one place he said Jeffrey hasn't been. After after they done said we're not going to give him bond because he a flight risk. You then go into how he done flew everywhere except one place. Wow. So please don't look surprised that they denying the bond right now. They're still going to review it, but they're denying the bond right now. Don't look surprised.
Pass this to Judge Glanville because your order of no bond will restrict Mr. Williams.
I agree. I don't know how else to
Well, Brian Steele, you shouldn't have let the court know how much he likes to fly around the world.
say it. The court agrees with the state's argument for this bond hearing today that your client is a flight risk, that he has traveled extensively. Even if he turned in his passport, that would not restrict his travel outside the state of Georgia. He has a lot of support, it appears, outside the state of Georgia. It might be hard to get him back to Georgia if he were to leave the state. That could not restrict his interstate travel. I also mentioned Judge Glanville to consider that there's an open related case that at this point does not have a bond. And so it also makes sense for Judge Glanville to consider everything and for him not to be hamstrung by any decision that the court makes today. So it's not passing the buck, it's making a decision today based on what's in front of me now.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
You can set a condition that Mr. Williams is on an ankle monitor and confined to an area, not in the state.
An ankle monitor? Mr. Brian Steele, didn't I say that in the beginning of the video? Why in the world would you start off talking about how this man loved to fly when they denied his bond because he a flight risk? That should not have been said. We should have went straight to the point. You was better off saying he has an open case that has not made no movement. He has not been arrested since 2018. But talking about him, how he likes to fly, and he done flew everywhere except one place, that's not helping Mr. Jeffrey at all.
But I would ask the court to please reconsider, because what you're doing now is setting a precedent of a risk of.
And I originally had said in the beginning of this video that, grant bond and send him home on an ankle monitor. You will then be able to monitor him.
Flight when there is zero equity. The man leaves the country because of work.
Well, I will also add that there's a risk of committing additional felonies for the reason that there's an open methamphetamine with intent, sale of marijuana case pending, and that those are the same charges alleged here. Allegations in both cases that Williams are presumed innocent. I know Mr. Steele is already zealously representing you, but if we could put that on an order as well, and it's no bond, risk to commit additional felonies as well. I appreciate your argument, Mr. Steele. Nobody does it better, but that's the order of the court.
Let's be honest. He should have did it a different way, and he should have did it better. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Judge Wolf.
Issues on bond need to go in front of Judge Glanville down the road.
Not only that, you also said he got arrested from coming in from a flight, I believe. Like, this is just, why would you mention how much he loves to fly when originally they told you that they're going to deny his bond because of flight risk? I'm just like, you shouldn't even spoke on him traveling. You shouldn't even spoke on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very nice to see you. And again, to the people on the call supporting Mr. Williams, today means the world to him and the Puerto
Man, I want to thank y'all for taking time to watch this video. Like, comment, subscribe, share.
And let's get to that in just a moment.
Let me know what you think about
Anything
this.
else for Mr. Williams?
Not today, Your Honor.
Okay, and I don't think, Mr. Steele, do you have any other cases on the calendar?
No, sir.
Okay, very nice to see you. Look forward to seeing you.